All right, the streak is over. The Georgia Bulldogs have lost to the Alabama Crimson Tide tonight. Final score 27-24. Georgia fought hard. They were not the better team tonight for 4 quarters. They actually got off to a hot start. This was 7-0, and they had the ball, and things were looking great. But then they couldn't score for the rest of the first half. Alabama took the lead and maintained that lead. They earned this victory. They won it 100%. The officiating was awful. Probably the worst officiated game I've seen all year, especially with Georgia being involved. But this was not about the officials. This was not about injuries. This was about a motivated Alabama team coming into Atlanta with their backs against the wall, no one believing in them. And they played hard. They played better. They executed better than Georgia did, especially their defense. They made Georgia earn everything. Georgia's made a lot of things look easy offensively throughout this year. Alabama wasn't having it. They tackled well. They played fast. They pressured Carson Beck. The receivers had trouble getting open. Georgia scored 24, but for a good part of this game, they really struggled doing much at all. They only rushed for 78 yards. I can't remember the last time I covered a Georgia game with the stakes this big, and they only rushed for 78 yards. Only 321 total yards. Defensively, they didn't play poor, but they needed to get stops in that fourth quarter, and they just didn't. They needed a final stop on that last drive. They didn't get it. Jalen Milroe played outstanding. His stats are not going to indicate that. He did not throw for 200 yards, I believe. He did not rush for 100 yards, but he made enough plays with his legs and enough plays with his arm to beat Georgia, and that's what my biggest concern with him was. Is he a good enough quarterback? We know he's a tremendous athlete. Is he good enough at quarterback to beat this Georgia team? And he made enough throws to get the job done. Milroe, he was just 13 of 23. It's not like he was throwing all over them. Only 192 yards, 2 big touchdowns. With sacks, he rushed for, let's see down here, 29 yards. So it's not like he put on some Joe Burrow type of performance, Bryce Young type of performance. He played well enough for them to win the game, but it was Alabama's defense and their secondary, I thought, that played tremendous. They played their best game of the season. Alabama did. They waited till the biggest stage to play their best, and Georgia didn't. They let an opportunity slip right through their fingers because they didn't execute the way Alabama did today. Alabama had the game plan. They executed it better than Georgia did. Georgia just could not get the run going. There were multiple 3rd and shorts, I believe, in the first half alone, where they tried to get to the perimeter. They tried to get off the edge, and it just wasn't there. They could not run up the middle. They couldn't run on 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts. I take that back. I don't think they missed a 4th and 1 opportunity, but multiple 3rd and shorts where they ran the ball, tried to get it to the edge outside, and it just wasn't there. Alabama tackled well. They won the game in the trenches. This was about as poor as Georgia's offensive line has played this year. The holes weren't there. Carson Beck was pressured more than we've seen him all season long. The offensive line just wasn't there, and they're a little banged up. Brock Bowers is not 100%. Ladd McConkey's not 100%, but Alabama's got some guys that were not 100%. So you can't blame the injuries. I think Alabama got more calls that went their way, but at the end of the day, they played better than Georgia, and they coached better than Georgia. They earned that victory out there, and I don't think Georgia played terrible. They just didn't play as crisp and as efficient as we've seen them play for the first 12 games of the season. You would like to see them come out and play with that same type of fire and execution that we've seen them play all year, but that didn't happen today. That was the best team they played all year long, and that team waited till now to play their very best. They played hungry and played motivated. Nick Saban was telling them all week long, no one believes in you. You can't go to Atlanta and beat the Dogs anymore. They're number 1. They're on the top of the college football mountain. Y'all don't have a shot, right? That's what folks like myself and everyone else was saying. I don't know how many people picked Alabama to win this game. If they did, congratulations to them, because Georgia was better all season long. Georgia was the better team all season long. And that's why most people thought Georgia would win this game. I thought they would cover. They fought hard. They didn't give up, but it just wasn't enough. Alabama played better, and they executed better. They tackled better. They ran the ball better. They blocked better, and made enough plays in that fourth quarter to keep drives going, to keep milking the clock. And it was a quick game. It felt like there were a billion commercials, but this game was going fast. and Georgia just started kind of running out of possessions. And that turnover on their own side of the field was one of the biggest keys of the game. I thought on their second drive, when they're up 7-0, they've got the ball. Things are looking great. It was a second down. I think Carson Beck missed a kind of a wide open Dylan Bell. It would have been 15, 20 yards down the field. Instead, he throws it to Ladd McConkey, incomplete. Then he goes to Bowers. That was incomplete. Then they punt. Then I think they go 3 and out again. Then they miss a field goal, which was big. Peyton Woodring doinks it off the side, and they lost by 3 and they missed a field goal. When you miss field goals and you turn the ball over on your side of the field and you don't make stops consistently on defense, that's how you lose games. And we said if there was one way Georgia was going to lose this game, it's, they have to shoot themselves in the foot several times, which they did, but it's missed field goals, it's turnovers on your own side of the field. And that's what happened. They tried to fight and crawl their way back into it, and I think you stop to give Georgia credit for that. They still look like a top 4 team to me. They're number 1. They lost to a really good Alabama, SEC champion Alabama by 3 points. Georgia's probably still a top 4 team in the country. I don't know if the committee feels the same way. It's going to be tough, but now it's not up to Georgia. Georgia had an opportunity. Win this game, they're in. They're number 1. And if Florida State beats Louisville, they probably sneak in at 4, and they throttle Florida State, and they're on to play for a national championship. That's what was at stake. They came up short. I haven't seen it in 29 games. Last time they lost was to Alabama in this game. 2 full calendar years since Georgia fans have felt this way after a ball game where they came up short, and they came up short again to Alabama. I know they've got that national championship against Alabama under their belt already. That was huge, got the monkey off their back. But they still have Nick Saban. This is still a machine of a program they've got. And they came out and gave Georgia their best effort, and it was enough to take down the Dogs. Georgia's not invincible. They are beatable. I think Auburn showed everyone that Georgia was capable of losing a game. Missouri showed that. They didn't play the best against Georgia Tech. And again, they got off to a good start, which is what you wanted to see. But Alabama earned it. They came out and they played better. They made more plays than Georgia did. They won the line of scrimmage. Their quarterback made enough plays with his feet and his arm. Isaiah Bond had a big-time game, 5 catches, 79 yards. He had a ball that the officials gave him. They didn't review it, which led to, I think, Alabama's first or second touchdown. Ball was incomplete. They didn't review it. The officials were off and on. I mean, I don't know what they were doing tonight. Very poorly officiated game, but that's not why Georgia lost. They lost because they didn't execute as well as Alabama did for 4 quarters. And, the season was kind of on the line. Going into this game, it wasn't like last year where they knew, hey, we can lose to LSU, even though we shouldn't. We can lose to LSU and still get in the playoff. I don't know if they're in that situation. Make sure you sign up to the newsletter. That link is down below. It's free. You can moan and groan and complain over on Dawg Post. Just get a subscription, and you can complain all you want tonight. That's what Georgia fans do. They're not used to this. They're not used to losing, especially when the last 2 years we've seen them play their best when it matters most. And tonight, the season was on the line, and they did not play their best. So it kind of makes you think, what happened, what's going on. But at the end of the day, the more I think about it, Alabama just played better. They came out and they wanted it more. They fought harder. They executed better. They coached better. Everything I thought Georgia would do in this game, I thought Georgia was more talented. They still might be. I thought they were the better coach team. I thought they were the better 4-quarter team. But Alabama proved that tonight, they were the better team. They were the better 4th-quarter team. They were more well-conditioned. They executed at a very high level, especially defensively. And we haven't seen a team make Georgia earn it like that all season long. Nothing came easy. You have to tip your hat to Alabama. They are the SEC champions. Again, have made a big statement on their chances of getting in the playoff. They look like a top 4 team. I think both of these teams are 2 of the 4 best teams in college football. I don't think we're going to see them both in the playoff. Maybe Georgia can sneak in there, but the opportunity was there. They had it. They were up early, but Alabama was the better team tonight. They earned it. There's no doubt about it. Georgia didn't lose this game. They did. Final score says they lost the game, but Alabama took this game. Georgia didn't give it to them. They gave them a bad turnover, and they missed a field goal. But Alabama fought hard. It was a hard-earned victory that they got over the Dogs today. 27-24 final score. Georgia loses again to Alabama in another SEC championship. Great game, but the Dogs come out on the short end of the stick. Drop your comments in the section below. Is the season over? Do you want to complain more? Go on to Dawg Post. We'd love to have y'all over there and share your thoughts. Do it in the comment section below too, but make sure you head over to Dawg Post. Thanks for watching this video. It's been a fun ride. It's been a fun season. I hope it's not over. No one cares about playing Louisville in the Orange Bowl. What a disaster that would be. But Georgia had an opportunity today to take control and go into the playoffs #1, and they fell. Let that opportunity right through their fingers. They lose to Alabama. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you on Dawg Post.